Hi, in a previous video I went through the steps of making a bending side or bending form such as this one. In fact, it was this one. Today I want to actually use the bending form and the waste call that we made that day to bend some sides, and I'm just going to show you that process, and I'm going to show you how we can bend sides without anything much more than this form, the waste call, and the base that I made for it to sit on, which you'll see in the video. The only modifications I made to the base was I've raised it up a little bit so there's room for the extended slats and heating blanket to fall, and I've put these two uprights on, which you'll see why once we get into the bending. So let's get on with it. So the first thing to do is to get organised, make sure that everything is ready to go. So we have our side, the side's been marked out, this is the outside, so this is the side that will be on the outside of the guitar. I've got arrows here marked pointing to the side which will be my soundboard, so I keep things up the right way. This is the neck end, this is the side that the back gets glued to, and this is the tail end. I'm also going to be bending my bindings at the same time. It's a really good idea to do that because they need to be the same shape and it'll save time later. You might notice that I've taped them together so that the two purfling lines are touching each other. It's important that you don't bend one upside down. So I've got my steel slat down here, my side, my bindings, I've got the other steel slat, and I've got my heating blanket over here. I've also got just some baking paper, I've got some alfoil, I have got 4 little spring clips to hold everything together when I get it there. I've got a Sharpie pen so I can mark out where the waste is, so I don't lose track of that waistline. I might need some masking tape, I'm not sure, so I've got that there. And then over here I've got my bending form set up. It's on my stand. As I said, I've raised the stand a little bit so that the slats and heating blanket can form over that. I've added these 2 uprights on the back edge here. You'll see why in a minute. And I've got my waist call over here. There's a black strap running through and coming out on this side, and I've got a blue strap and just 2 blocks of wood. These have got little stirrups on here to make sure the straps don't fall off. There's one at this end and there's one down at this end. And so we're ready to go. So the sandwich consisting of the two metal slats, the heating blanket and our sides wrapped in baking paper and alfoil and moistened, lined up. Make sure the line of our waste is lining up with the line of the waste on the form, and also in putting it all together, making sure that the outside of the guitar is on the upper side here. We've got our binding strips in there, and by pressing it against these two, or sitting it against these two posts, we make sure that it remains square to the form and doesn't get a twist in it. We've got our temperature controller here. Turn it on. It's currently set at 150 degrees centigrade, which is about 300 degrees Fahrenheit. So we turn it on. It's reading 35, and you can see the temperature is going up. We're going to let that get to around about 100 degrees centigrade, and then we'll start bending the sides, starting with the waste. I've also got another temperature readout over here. This is a fairly inexpensive multimeter, which comes with a temperature probe. I've inserted the temperature probe in between the heating blanket and the sides, and it's reading 60 degrees, which matches pretty exactly what we're reading on the temperature controller. So it just gives me two ways of keeping track of the temperature. While it's heating up, I'm going to take the caul for the waste and sit it on top and take our strap and do it up. We've reached 100 degrees on our temperature controller, so I'm going to start just pressing this down by hand, taking it slowly. So we don't need an expensive winder. It'd be nice, but it's not necessary. Making sure that our sides are keeping square against those two posts. Okay, there we are. We've successfully bent our sides and our bindings, which I've got clipped on to keep them in shape. And all we've used is the bending form, the waist caul, and a couple of tie-down straps and some wooden blocks. You don't need anything fancier than that to bend your sides. Once they are bent and you take them out, it's a good idea to immediately put them into one half of the body mould to hold them in shape while they cool and dry out thoroughly. I like to leave them overnight. So I'll be putting those into this body mould, and in the next video I intend to make another modification and actually add in a wind down waist press for those that want to see that in action. It's not very complicated, but we'll do that in the next one. Cheers.